My name's Emma Wood and I'm a Business Development Manager for Standard Chartered Bank. Business development is responsible for finding and acquiring new to bank clients. So I work with a lot of introducers, predominantly based in London, to try and source new business for the bank here in Jersey. Pre-COVID, I spent quite a lot of time travelling to London to meet with introducers face to face, pitch our offering and what it is that we can do for their clients. Now it's a little bit more digitally based, so Zoom meetings, presentations, lots of email responses. Our clients are based in Asia, Africa and the Middle East, so by the time I come in the morning, I've got all the inquiries from the day before to deal with. I left school at 16 and worked in retail and hospitality until I turned 18 when I joined HSBC as a cashier in their Halkett Street branch. I worked there for about 3 years before I moved with HSBC to London as a regulated financial advisor. I was in London for about 4 years as an advisor, then in business development, before taking a sabbatical, at which point I came back to Jersey for a few months, did some more professional exams and then went travelling before joining Standard Chartered about 2 years ago. I didn't go to university and joined HSBC straight after leaving school, and was very fortunate that they offer a really good introductory programme which gave me an insight into financial services. Since then I've completed quite a lot of professional exams, got my mortgage qualifications through the Chartered Institute of Insurance and got my investment advice diploma, which was completed through the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments. As of last year, I decided to go back to school, and I've recently started a degree long distance through a US-based university. My role felt like a really good fit for me. I've got a long background in mortgages and business development, and this role combines the two. Standard Chartered is a global organisation, so I was excited by the opportunity for international travel and longer-term international moves. No 2 days are the same in business development, and that's what I find really exciting about it. I think to succeed in business development, you need to be able to talk. I can talk for Britain, so I think that's probably why I quite enjoy it. But also be able to really listen and understand what your clients and introducers are telling you, and be able to tailor what it is that your organisation can offer for their needs. No 2 days are the same in business development, which is really exciting. I get to speak with and meet lots and lots of new people from all kinds of different backgrounds, countries and walks of life. I think the product side of things can be taught, but you really just need to be quite self-motivated and enjoy working with and speaking with people to do well in business development. I think that there's no necessary requirement to get into finance to go to university previously. I didn't do it. Maybe I've had to work a little bit harder, but I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I'd say for both school leavers and graduates, have an open mind. The first job that I got at HSBC maybe wasn't what I initially wanted to do, but I learnt so many skills and had such a good insight into financial services that's really enabled me to kind of find my path now and into what it is that I want to do. There's so many jobs within the financial services industry, and you learn so many soft skills that really can lead from one role to the next. I think the biggest misconception probably is that we just all sit there and push paper around and make wealthy people even more money. Financial services is such a big sector of the of the job market, and there's so many roles that you wouldn't even think of in banks and other financial services organisations. My favourite thing about both my organisation and financial services as a whole is the amount of opportunities that are available to you once you're within the sector. I've been really fortunate to have lots of opportunities to travel. I moved with my previous employer to London, which was always something that I'd wanted to do. And no 2 days are the same. I think once you start kind of down the path, there's always new opportunities and new roles that kind of present themselves, especially with the rise in digital. There's job opportunities now that simply weren't around 2-3 years ago. It's a really exciting time to be part of financial services, and I think there's the opportunity to have a really long-lasting and enjoyable career within the industry.
Joel Wheeler, Assistant Manager at VG. I work in the Wealth Structuring Group, so I have a variety of clients, most of them being corporate, but I also have some private clients as well. Usually I come in the morning and I'll check my emails that are coming overnight, see kind of what's going on. I'll then check my calendar to see kind of how I can structure my day, if I've got any meetings I need to be aware of before I start taking on more work. So yeah, that's kind of how I'd start my day, and then yeah, it's interaction with my clients throughout the day and just getting the tasks done that need to be done for the day. I went to Lekeneve School and completed my GCSEs there. I then moved to Holyar and did my A-levels there, and so when I finished my A-levels I went straight into finance. So I did the Investments Operations Certificate with the CISI. I've then moved on to ICSA, so I've completed the certificate level with ICSA. I'm now studying towards my diploma with ICSA. My current role, when I left school, I kind of went straight into the trust field, and that's an area that I really enjoy. And in this role, came available, and it allowed me to take on most of the employee benefit trust, which is a lot of expertise I have in with VG. So that was a kind of real, step up in my career for me to get that role. I'd definitely say make yourself visible. I think there's so many opportunities for school leavers, and there's so many kind of different options like that where you can just go and talk to potential employers, get your face out there. So then if you ever want to meet someone for a coffee, it's a perfect kind of introduction again. Say, oh, do you remember when we met at XYZ? And yeah, it's a great way to do it. I think when you say I work in finance and people say, oh, typical from Jersey, you didn't know what you wanted to do, you left school so you went to finance. I think that's a massive kind of perception that everyone has, and I think that needs to be wiped, because the opportunities and the career potential you can have working in finance in Jersey is huge. And I just think people need to kind of get that out of the way and say, right, this is a real career for someone, not just a second choice. I'm a massive people person, so I do really enjoy the client interaction. I think a kind of back office role wouldn't really be for me. I do really enjoy getting hands-on, speaking to my clients, even going away, meeting them, getting to know them and actually understanding their needs. I really enjoy that.
Kirsten Rowe, I'm a legal assistant at Voisin Law. I deal with estate planning and capacity, so that's wills, estates when people have passed away, and when people have lost their capacity, we manage their finances for them. Where I work at Voisin, we're a full service law firm, so we cover commercial law, litigation, property transactions, wills and probate, so we do everything. So it can be very varied from, defending a criminal, dealing with wills, multi-million pound restructurings, to just, buying houses and transacting in Jersey. It really depends on what cases we've got on. It could vary from taking will instructions. I could be going out to clients' houses to clear them if there's no family involved, or going to care homes to see some of our clients. Really varied. I went to Hope Valley, then I moved to Holyar. I decided not to go to uni, so I went straight into trust work, and then went to Voisin and started as a legal secretary. So I didn't do any exams for that. And then I moved to legal assistant, and I've started doing, they're called Chartered Legal Executive exams. So it's all UK law, but eventually I will qualify as a Chartered Legal Executive. I think I enjoyed doing the legal secretarial work. I initially started in litigation, and then I moved over to probate, and found that I could get a lot more involved. So then one of my colleagues went on maternity leave, and I started taking over her work, and it just progressed from there, really. One of the most important skills you need is to be able to just deal compassionately with people, because you're often dealing with them at one of the worst times of their life. And I think you need to be very organised, have quite good attention to detail, and be up for very strange and wonderful days in your working life. I think don't automatically assume that you have to go to uni, and that there's only one route into law. I started quite late doing what I'm doing, but I think if it's something you want to do and you kind of keep pushing at it, my work at Voisin is really supportive of me doing my exams whilst working, so I plough on if that's what you want to do. The thing I enjoy most about my job is obviously my colleagues, but also our clients, especially the ones who we manage long term. You start to get, to know them a lot more, and they become a little bit of your family, and I think generally people think that lawyers are just really expensive and we're out to get your money, but we're not. We often deal with quite cute little old ladies, so are quite open to giving them discounts.
My name is Dave and I am a tax associate for Grant Thornton, Jersey. I provide compliance services for Jersey and UK tax clients in regards to their company and personal affairs. We look at their income, either companies or personal, and we need to make sure that our clients get the best application of tax law. It really depends on the day and what's on my to-do list. It could be reviewing company accounts, reviewing different regulations, preparing tax computations and relevant returns. I started in hospitality here in Jersey almost 8 years ago. Fast forward another few years and I decided I wanted to grow more in different sectors, and I went into finance. I started studying as I was working in the hospitality, and from then on they've just been supporting with my studies, allowing me to transfer into departments to understand where I want to be and what finance road I want to take. When I first started, I joined the tax department in Grant Thornton. I didn't know much about tax at all. It was a foreign concept for me, completely brand new world, and they trained me up and I fell in love with it. A year later, they actually allowed me to do a secondment where they transferred to a different department, an audit department, for 7 months, which I really loved. The team I work with are just amazing people and so knowledgeable and experienced that it's quite amazing to work and learn from these kind of people. For the role that I'm doing, definitely willingness to learn. Laws and regulations change constantly. You're actually never done studying, you're never done learning new things. It's constant adaptation to laws, regulations. Communication. As you work with a lot of clients, you need strong communication with people. Having a hospitality background has helped me a lot in finance, especially running my own business. It's helped me a lot with management, it's helped me a lot with dealing with clients. There's a lot of day-to-day management from managing people, managing my own workload, to-do lists, that's been transferred from hospitality. Before you make your initial decision, so you do a little bit of research. You can always change what you decide, like I did when I moved from catering, from hospitality to finance. Most people think finance and accounting is boring, but mostly it's not. There's a lot of different varied clients from different backgrounds, and it's quite interesting to see all these different people. Another myth is that you need to be really good at math or need to be a graduate. I didn't go through university. I came straight from my country to work in catering, and then thankfully I found a great organisation who would pick me up. And you can't work in finance with tattoos. Most working places are quite inclusive these days. They look people for their skills. A great thing to see that finance sector is being more inclusive. My favourite thing is the complexity and the people that I work with. I can ask questions, even in regards to studying, I can ask anybody questions. They'll stop what they're doing and ask, they'll help me out and explain me things. Even when I'm given complex work, they don't expect me to know everything, but they encourage me to learn, to find things for myself. I strive for learning, I strive for growth, and Grant Thornton allows me that and supports and encourages that.
My name's Lauren and I'm an Assistant Trust Manager at Zedra Trust Company. I work in the Trust Department doing private wealth. My team is predominantly Middle Eastern clients, so we generally deal with wealth planning and looking after their assets for future generations. It's hard to have a typical day. You generally have a plan when you go in the morning about what you need to do, what needs to get done, but it can quite often change. You can get phone calls from clients who suddenly need to buy a property or they need money for their lifestyle or for their children, so it really can change day by day. Although these days there's a lot of looking at risk in our jobs, so that takes up a lot of our time as well. In our business, we're very good at doing CPD, and we have law firms come in and do lunch and learns, and there's always the opportunity to do more study if you want. Zedra's very supportive of that, so it's always available if that's what you decide you want to do, but there's also no pressure. exams is not something that you feel you're strong at. There's always different options. I did my GCSEs and A-levels. During my second year of A-levels, I changed my mind about what I wanted to do. I initially wanted to go to university and study law, but one day I just decided that I really wanted to go straight into work. I'm very much a people person. I like building relationships, and I know that's where my skill set lies. I think the skills you really need to be successful is organisation, hard working, and to have a willingness to learn. I think if you have those three, you can learn anything. I'm happy to teach anything to anyone who just has the desire to move forward. When I left school, there wasn't as much advice about the different areas you can go into. It was very much accountancy, trust, banking. That's not the case, and I think ask many questions, speak to as many people as you can, get as much advice as you can, and don't feel that you have to go into a certain area. If you have a skill set, really be honest with yourself about what that skill set is and where you're best suited. I think a myth is that you have to be good with numbers and that it's a paper-dominated industry. It's not. There's so many options. People think that for trust you're dealing with very wealthy people, but there is so many different reasons people have a trust, and meeting different families and learning about them from different cultures. It's really interesting, and it makes you grow as a person, I think, to see how different people live.